Advice to a Girl by Sarah Teasdale. This is a LibriVox recording by Laura Harrington. No one worth possessing can be quite possessed. Lay that on your heart, my young angry dear. This truth, this hard and precious stone, lay it on your cheek, let it hide your tear. Hold it like a crystal when you are alone, and gaze in the depths of the icy stone. Look long, and you will be blessed. No one worth possessing can be quite possessed. End of Advice to a Girl. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. Read by Laura Harrington.
After Many Days by D.H. Lawrence. Read for LibriVox.org by A. Sievers. I wonder if with you, as it is with me, if under your slipping words that easily flow about you as a garment, easily your violent heart beats to and fro. Long have I waited, never once confessed, even to myself, how bitter the separation. Now, being come again, how make the best reparation? If I could cast this clothing off from me, if I could lift my naked self to you, or if only you would repulse me, a wound would be good. It would let the ache come through. But that you hold me still so kindly cold, aloof my flaming heart will not allow. Yea, but I loathe you that you should withhold your pleasure now. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Against Fruition by Sir John Suckling. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson in Hazelmere, Surrey. Stay here, fond youth, and ask no more. Be wise, knowing too much, long since lost paradise. The virtuous joys thou hast, thou wouldst should still last in their pride, and wouldst not take it ill, if rudely from sweet dreams, and for a toy, thou wert awaked. He wakes himself that does enjoy. Fruition adds no new wealth, but destroys, and while it pleaseth much the palate, cloys. Who thinks he shall be happier for that, as reasonably might hope he might grow fat by eating to a surfeit? This once past, what relishes? Even kisses lose their taste. Urge not 'tis necessary. Alas, we know the homeliest thing which mankind does is so. The world is of a vast extent, we see, and must be peopled. Children there must be, so must bread too. But since there are enough born to the drudgery, what need we plough? Women enjoyed, whate'er before to have been, are like romances read, or sights once seen. Fruition's dull, and spoils the play much more than if one read or knew the plot before. 'Tis expectation makes a blessing dear. Heaven were not heaven, if we knew what it were. And as in prospects we are there pleased most, where something keeps the eye from being lost, and leaves us room to guess, so here restraint holds up delight, that with excess would faint. They who know all the wealth they have are poor. He's only rich that cannot tell his store. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Anxiety by D.H. Lawrence. Read for LibriVox.org by A. Sieverts. The hoar frost crumbles in the sun. The crisping steam of a train melts in the air while two blackbirds sweep past the window again. Along a vacant road a red bicycle approaches. I wait in a thaw of anxiety for the boy to leap down at our gate. He has passed us by, but is it relief that starts in my breast, or a deeper bruise of knowing that still she has no rest? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Apologia pro pomate meo by Wilfred Owen. Read for LibriVox.com by Winston Tharp. I too saw God through mud, the mud that cracked on cheeks when wretches smiled. War brought more glory to their eyes than blood, and gave their laughs more glee than shakes a child. Merry it was to laugh there, where death becomes absurd and life absurder, for power was on us as we slashed bones bare, not to feel sickness or remorse of murder. I too have dropped off fear, behind the barrage, dead as my platoon, and sailed my spirit, surging light and clear, past the entanglement where hopes lay strewn, and witnessed exaltation. Faces that used to curse me, scowl for scowl, shine up and lift with passion of oblation, seraphic for an hour, though they were foul. I have made fellowships, untold of happy lovers in old song, for love is not the binding of fair lips with the soft silk of eyes that look and long by joy whose ribbon slips, but wound with war's hard wire whose stakes are strong, bound with the bandage of the arm that drips, knit in the welding of the rifle thong. I have perceived much beauty in the hoarse oaths that kept our courage straight, heard music in the silentness of duty, found peace where shell storms spouted reddest spate. Nevertheless, except you share with them in hell the sorrowful dark of hell, whose world is but the trembling of a flare, and heaven but is the highway for a shell, you shall not come to hear their mirth. You shall not come to think them well content by any jest of mine. These men are worth your tears. You are not worth their merriment. November 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Christ in the Universe by Alice Meynell. Read for LibriVox.org by Heather Thompson. With this ambiguous earth, his dealings have been told us. These abide: the signal to a maid, the human birth, the lesson, and the young man crucified. But not a star of all the innumerable host of stars has heard how he administered this terrestrial ball. Our race have kept their Lord's entrusted word. Of his earth-visiting feet none knows the secret, cherished, perilous, the terrible, shamefast, frightened, whispered, sweet, heart-shattering secret of his way with us. No planet knows that this, our wayside planet, carrying land and wave, love and life multiplied, and pain and bliss, bears as chief treasure one forsaken grave. Nor, in our little day, may his devices with the heavens be guessed, his pilgrimage to thread the Milky Way, or his bestowals there be manifest. But in the eternities doubtless we shall compare together, hear a million alien gospels, in what guise he trod the Pleiades, the lyre, the bear. Oh, be prepared, my soul, to read the inconceivable, to scan the myriad forms of God, those stars unroll, when, in our turn, we show to them a man. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. August 28, 2010, Ottawa, Canada. Visit www.librivox.org. www.cadmantutorials.com.
The Eagle by Alfred Tennyson, read for LibriVox.org by Mr. Frerking. He clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands. Ringed with the azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls, he watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
El Dorado by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Lady Maria. Gaily bedight, a gallant knight, in sunshine and in shadow, had journeyed long, singing a song in search of El Dorado. But he grew old, this night so bold, nor his heart a shadow. There has he found no spot of ground that looked like El Dorado. And as his strength failed him at length, he met a pilgrim shadow. Shadow, said he, where can it be, this land of El Dorado? Over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride, boldly ride. The shade replied, if you sing for El Dorado. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Evening Star by Edgar Allan Poe. Read for LibriVox.org by Matthew Grote. 'Twas noontide of summer, and mid-time of night, and stars in their orbits shone pale through the light of the brighter cold moon. Mid planets her slaves, herself in the heavens, her beam on the waves. I gazed awhile on her cold smile, too cold for me. There passed as a shroud, a fleecy cloud, and I turned away to thee, proud evening star, in thy glory afar, and dearer thy beam shall be. For joy to my heart is the proud part thou bearest in heaven at night, and more I admire thy distant fire than that colder, lowly light. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Fire of Driftwood by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Read for LibriVox.org by Maddie J. Devereux Farm, near Marblehead. We sat within the farmhouse old, whose windows, looking o'er the bay, gave to the sea breeze damp and cold an easy entrance, night and day. Not far away we saw the port, the strange, old-fashioned, silent town, the lighthouse, the dismantled fort, the wooden houses quaint and brown. We sat and talked until the night, descending, filled the little room. Our faces faded from the sight, our voices only broke the gloom. We spake of many a vanished scene, of what we once had thought and said, of what had been and might have been, and who was changed and who was dead, and all that fills the hearts of friends, when first they feel with secret pain their lives henceforth have separate ends, and never can be one again. The first slight swerving of the heart, that words are powerless to express, and leave it still unsaid in part, or say it in too great excess. The very tones in which we spake had something strange, I could but mark. The leaves of memory seemed to make a mournful rustling in the dark. Oft died the words upon our lips, as suddenly from out the fire built of the wreck of stranded ships, the flames would leap, and then expire. And as their splendor flashed and failed, we thought of wrecks upon the main, of ships dismasted, that were hailed and sent no answer back again. The windows rattling in their frames, the ocean roaring up the beach, the gusty blast, the bickering flames, all mingled vaguely in our speech, until they made themselves a part of fancies floating through the brain, the long-lost ventures of the heart, that send no answers back again. O flames that glowed, O hearts that yearned! They were indeed too much akin, the driftwood fire without that burned, the thoughts that burned and glowed within. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
For All We Have and Are by Rudyard Kipling, 1865 to 1936. Read for LibriVox.org by Soumya on the 5th of August 2010. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. For all we have and are, for all our children's fate, stand up and meet the war, the Hun is at the gate. Our world has passed away into wantonness overthrown. There is nothing left to stay but steel and fire and stone. Though all we knew depart, the old commandments stand. In courage keep your heart, in strength lift up your hand. Once more we hear the word that sickened earth of old, no law except the sword, unsheathed and uncontrolled. Once more it knits mankind, once more the nations go to meet and break and bind a crazed and driven foe. Comfort, content, delight, the age's slow-bought gain, they shriveled in a night, only ourselves remain, to face the naked days in silent fortitude, through perils and dismays, renewed and re-renewed. Though all we made depart, the old commandments stand. In patience keep your heart, in strength lift up your hand. No easy hopes or lies shall bring us to our goal, but iron sacrifice of body, will, and soul. There is but one task for all, for each one life to give. Who stands if freedom fall? Who dies if England live? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Four Preludes on Playthings of the Wind by Carl Sandburg. Read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Four Preludes on Playthings of the Wind. The past is a bucket of ashes. The woman named Tomorrow sits with a hairpin in her teeth, and takes her time, and does her hair the way she wants it, and fastens at last the last braid and coil, and puts the hairpin where it belongs, and turns and drawls, "Well, what of it? My grandmother yesterday is gone. What of it? Let the dead be dead." The doors were cedar, and the panels strips of gold, and the girls were golden girls, and the panels red, and the girls chanted, "We are the greatest city, the greatest nation, nothing like us ever was." The doors are twisted on broken hinges, sheets of rain swished through on the wind, where the golden girls ran, and the panels read, "We are the greatest city, the greatest nation, nothing like us ever was." It has happened before. Strong men put up a city and got a nation together, and paid singers to sing, and women to warble, "We are the greatest city, the greatest nation, nothing like us ever was." And while the singers sang, and the strong men listened, and paid the singers well, and felt good about it all, there were rats and lizards who listened. And the only listeners left now are the rats and the lizards. And there are black crows crying "Caw, caw," bringing mud and sticks, building a nest over the words carved on the doors, where the panels were cedar and the strips on the panels were gold, and the golden girls came singing, "We are the greatest city, the greatest nation, nothing like us ever was." The only singers now are crows crying "Caw, caw," and the sheets of rain whine in the winds and doorways, and the only listeners now are the rats and the lizards. The feet of the rats scribble on the door-sills. The hieroglyphs of the rat footprints chatter the pedigrees of the rats, and babble of the blood and gabble of the breed of the grandfathers and the great-grandfathers of the rats. And the wind shifts, and the dust on the door-sill shifts, and even the writing of the rat footprints tells us nothing, nothing at all, about the greatest city, the greatest nation, where the strong men listened and the women warbled, "Nothing like us ever was." End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Laboratory by Robert Browning, read for LibriVox.org by Ashley Jane. The Laboratory. Now that I, tying the glass mask tightly, may gaze through these faint smokes curling whitely, as thou pliest thy trade in this devil's smithy, which is the poison to poison her, prithee? He is with her, and they know that I know where they are, what they do. They believe my tears flow, while they laugh at me fled to the drear, empty church to pray God in. For them I am here. Grind away, moisten and mash up thy paste, pound at thy powder, I'm not in haste. Better sit thus and observe thy strange things, than go where men wait and dance at the king's. That in the mortar, you call it a gum? Ah, the brave tree whence such a gold oozings come. And yonder soft phial, the exquisite blue, sure to taste sweetly, is that poison too? Had I but all of them, thee and thy treasures, what a wild crowd of invisible pleasures, to carry pure death in an earring, a casket, a signet, a fan mountain, a filigree basket! Soon at the king's a mere lozenge to give, and Pauline should just have 30 minutes to live. But to light a pastille and a lease with her head, and her breast and her arms and her hands should drop dead. Quick, is it finished? The colour's too grim. Why not soft like the phials, enticing and dim? Let it brighten her drink, let her turn it and stir, and try it and taste ere she fix and prefer. What a drop! She's not little, no minion like me, that's why she ensnared him. This never will free the soul from those masculine eyes, saying no to that pulse's magnificent come and go. For only last night, as they whispered, I brought my own eyes to bear on her, so that I thought, could I keep them 1/2 minute fixed, she would fall, shriveled. She fell not, yet this does it all. Not that I bid you spare her the pain, let death be felt and the proof remain. Brand, burn up, bite into its grace, he is sure to remember her dying face. Is it done? Take my mask off. Nay, be not morose, it kills her, and this prevents seeing it close. The delicate droplet, my whole fortune's fee, if it hurts her beside, can it ever hurt me? Now take all my jewels, gorge gold to your fill, you may kiss me, old man, on my mouth if you will. But brush this dust off me, lest horror it brings, ere I know it, next moment I dance at the king's. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Lincoln by John Gold Fletcher. Read for LibriVox.org by Maddie J. Section 1. like a gaunt, scraggly pine, which lifts its head above the mournful sandhills, and patiently, through dull years of bitter silence, untended and uncared for, begins to grow. Ungainly, laboring, huge, the wind of the north has twisted and gnarled its branches. Yet in the heat of midsummer days, when thunderclouds ring the horizon, a nation of men shall rest beneath its shade, and it shall protect them all, hold everyone safe there, watching aloof in silence, until at last one mad stray bolt from the zenith shall strike it in an instant down to earth. Section 2. There was a darkness in this man, an immense and hollow darkness, of which we may not speak, nor share with him, nor enter. A darkness through which strong roots stretched downwards into the earth, towards old things, towards the herdmen kings who walked the earth and spoke with God, towards the wanderers who sought for they knew not what, and found their goal at last, towards the men who waited, only waited patiently when all seemed lost, many bitter winters of defeat. Down to the granite of patience these roots swept, knotted fibrous roots, prying, piercing, seeking, and drew from the living rock and the living waters about it the red sap to carry upwards to the sun. Not proud, but humble, only to serve and pass on, to endure to the end through service. For the axe is laid at the root of the trees, and all that bring not forth good fruit shall be cut down on the day to come, and cast into the fire. Section 3. There is silence abroad in the land today, and in the hearts of men a deep and anxious silence. And, because we are still at last, those bronze lips slowly open, those hollow and weary eyes take on a gleam of light. Slowly a patient, firm-syllabled voice cuts through the endless silence, like laboring oxen that drag a plough through the chaos of rude clay-fields. I went forward as the light goes forward in early spring, but there were also many things which I left behind. Tombs that were quiet, one of a mother whose brief light went out in the darkness, one of a loved one, the snow on whose grave is long falling, one only of a child, but it was mine. Have you forgot your graves? Go, question them in anguish. Listen long to their unstirred lips. From your hostages to silence, learn there is no life without death, no dawn without sun setting, no victory but to him who has given all. Section 4. The clamor of cannon dies down. The furnace mouth of the battle is silent. The midwinter sun dips and descends. The earth takes on afresh its bright colors. But he whom we mocked and obeyed not, he whom we scorned and mistrusted, he has descended like a god to his rest. Over the uproar of cities, over the million intricate threads of life wavering and crossing, in the midst of problems we know not, tangling, perplexing, ensnaring, rises one white tomb alone. Beam over it, stars, wrap it round, stripes, stripes red for the pain that he bore for you. Enfold it forever, O flag, rent, soiled, but repaired through your anguish. Long as you keep him there safe, the nations shall bow to your law. Strew over him flowers, blue forget-me-nots from the north, and the bright pink arbutus from the east, and from the west rich orange blossoms. But from the heart of the land take the passion flower, rayed, violet, dim, with the nails that pierced, the cross that he bore, and the circlet. And beside it there lay also one lonely snow-white magnolia, bitter for remembrance of the healing which has passed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mia Carlotta by Thomas Augustine Daly, read for LibriVox.org by Leonard Wilson of Springfield, Ohio. Giuseppe the barber is great for mash. He got the bigger, the blacker mustache. Good clothes and good style, and plenty good cash. Whenever Giuseppe's walk on the street, the people they talk how nobby, how neat, how soft the hand, how small the feet. He raise his hat and he shake his curls, and smile with teeth so shiny like pearls. Oh, many the heart of the silly young girls he got yes, plenty he got but not Carlotta. Giuseppe the barber he make an eye, and like a steam engine puff and sigh, for catch a Carlotta when she is go by. Carlotta she walk with nose in the air, and look through Giuseppe with far away stare, as if she no see there is somebody there. Giuseppe the barber he got the cash, he got the clothes and the big mustache, he got the silly young girls for the mash, but not you bet my life, not Carlotta, I got her. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mid-Ocean in Wartime by Joyce Kilmer, read for LibriVox.org by Mark Smith of Simpsonville, South Carolina. The poem is subtitled For My Mother. The fragile splendor of the level sea, the moon's serene and silver-veiled face, make of this vessel an enchanted place full of white mirth and golden sorcery. Now, for a time, shall careless laughter be blended with song to lend song sweeter grace, and the old stars, in their unending race, shall heed and envy young humanity. And yet tonight, 100 leagues away, these waters blush a strange and awful red. Before the moon, a cloud obscenely gray rises from decks that crash with flying lead, and these stars smile their immemorial way on waves that shroud 1,000 newly dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Mighty Fortress is Our God. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A Mighty Fortress is Our God by Martin Luther, translated by Frederick H. Hedge. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing, our helper he amid the flood of mortal ills prevailing. For still our ancient foe doth seek to work us woe, his craft and power are great, and armed with cruel hate, on earth is not his equal. Did we in our own strength confide, our striving would be losing, were not the right man on our side, the man of God's own choosing. Dost ask who that may be? Christ Jesus, it is he, Lord, Sabbath his name, from age to age the same, and he must win the battle. And though this world with devils filled should threaten to undo us, we will not fear, for God hath willed his truth to triumph through us. The prince of darkness grim, we tremble not for him. His rage we can endure, for lo, his doom is sure. One little word shall fell him. That word above all earthly powers, no thanks to them abideth. The Spirit and the gifts are ours, through him who with us sideth. Let goods and kindred go, this mortal life also. The body they may kill, God's truth abideth still. His kingdom is forever. A Mighty Fortress is Our God, by Martin Luther. Translated by Frederick H. Hedge. Read by J. Lytle.
My Friends by Robert Service. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Kipp. The man above was a murderer. The man below was a thief, and I lay there in the bunk between, ailing beyond belief. A weary arm full of skin and bones, wasted with pain and grief. My feet were froze, and the lifeless toes were purple, green, and gray. The little flesh that clung to my bones you could punch in holes like clay. The skin of my gums was sullen black and slowly peeling away. I was sure enough in a direful fix, and oft I wondered why they did not take the chance that was left and leave me alone to die, or finish me off with a dose of dope. So utterly lost was I. But no, they brewed me the green spruce tea and nursed me there like a child, and the homicide he was good to me and bathed my sores and smiled, and the thief he starved that I might feed, and his eyes were kind and mild. Yet they were woefully wicked men, and oft at night in pain I heard the murderer speak of his deeds and dream it over again. I heard the poor thief sorrowing for the dead self he had slain. I'll never forget that bitter dawn, so evil, askew, and gray, when they wrapped me round in the skins of beasts, and they bore me to a sleigh, and we started out with the nearest post 100 miles away. I'll never forget the trail they broke, with its tense, unuttered woe, and the crunch, crunch, crunch as their snowshoes sank through the crust of the hollow snow, and my breath would fail, and every beat of my heart was like a blow. And ofttimes I would die the death, yet wake up to life anew. The sun would be all ablaze on the waste, and the sky a brightening blue. And the tears would rise in my snow-blind eyes, and furrow my cheeks like dew. And the camps we made when their strength outplayed, and the day was pinched and wan, and oh, the joy of that blessed halt, and how I did dread the dawn, and how I hated the weary men who rose and dragged me on, and oh, how I begged to rest, to rest. The snow was so sweet a shroud, and oh, how I cried when they urged me on, cried and cursed them aloud. Yet on they strained, all racked and pained, and sorely their backs were bowed. And then it was all like a lurid dream, and I prayed for a swift release from the ruthless ones who would not leave me to die alone in peace, till I waked up, and I found myself in the post of the mounted police. And there was my friend the murderer, and there was my friend the thief, with bracelets of steel around their wrists, and wicked beyond belief. And when they come to God's judgment seat, may I be allowed the brief. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Night Journey by Rupert Brooke. Read for LibriVox.org by Miss Avarice. Hands and lit faces eddy to a line. The day's last minutes click, the clamor dies. Beyond the great swung arc of the roof, divine, night, smoky scarved, with thousand-colored eyes, glares the imperious mystery of the way. Thirsty for dark, you feel the long-limbed train throb, stretch, thrill motion, slide, pull out and sway. Strain for the far, pause, draw to strength again. As a man, caught by some great hour, will rise, slow-limbed, to meet the light or find his love, and, breathing long with staring sightless eyes, hands out, head back, agape and silent, move, sure as a flood, smooth as a vast wind blowing, and, gathering power and purpose as he goes, unstumbling, unreluctant, strong, unknowing, borne by a will not his, that lifts, that grows, sweep out to darkness, triumphing in his goal, out to the fire, out to the little room. There is an end appointed, O my soul. Crimson and green the signals burn, the gloom is hung with steam's far-blowing livid streamers, lost into God as lights in light we fly, grown one with will in drunken huddled dreamers. The white lights roar, the sounds of the world die, and lips and laughter are forgotten things. Speed sharpens, grows, into the night and dawn. The strength and splendor of our purpose swings, the lamps fade, and the stars. We are alone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Noble Nature by Ben Jonson. Read for LibriVox.org by Mr. Frereking. It is not growing like a tree, in bulk, doth make man better be, or standing long an oak, 300 year, to fall a log at last, dry, bald, and sere. A lily of a day is fairer far in May, although it fall and die that night. It was the plant and flower of light. In small proportions we just beauty see, and in short measures life may perfect be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
October by William Cullen Bryant. Read for LibriVox.org by Mary Beth Blackburn. Aye, thou art welcome, heaven's delicious breath, when woods begin to wear the crimson leaf, and suns grow meek, and the meek suns grow brief, and the year smiles as it draws near its death. Wind of the sunny south, oh, still delay, in the grey woods and in the golden air, like to a good old age released from care, journeying in long serenity away. In such a bright, late quiet, would that I might wear out life like thee, mid bowers and brooks, and dearer yet, the sunshine of kind looks, and music of kind voices ever nigh, and when my last sand twinkled in the glass, pass silently for men as thou dost pass. End of October by William Cullen Bryant. This recording is in the public domain.
On a Dead Moth by David Morton. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Reading by Bologna Times. On a Dead Moth by David Morton. Who knows what trouble trembled in that throat, what sweet distraction for the summer moon, that lured you out, a frail, careering boat, across the midnight's purple, deep lagoon? Some fire of madness fit that tiny brain, some soft propulsion clouded through your breast, and lifted you, a white and moving stain, against the dark of that disastrous quest. The sadness of all brief and lovely things, the fine and futile passions that we bear, haunt the bright wreck of your too fragile wings, and win a pity for you, ended there, like us hurled backward to the final shade, from mad adventures, for a moon or maid. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On the Castle of Chillon by George Gordon, Lord Byron. Read for LibriVox.org by James Martin. Eternal spirit of the chainless mind, brightest in dungeons, Liberty, thou art. For there thy habitation is the heart which love of thee alone can bind. And when thy sons to fetters are consigned, to fetters and the damp vault's dayless gloom, their country conquers with their martyrdom, and freedom's fame finds wings on every wind. Chillon, thy prison is a holy place, and thy sad floor an altar, for 'twas trod until his very steps have left a trace worn, as if thy cold pavement were a sod, by Bonnivard. May none those marks efface, for they appeal from tyranny to God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Shut Out by Cristina Rossetti. Read in English for LibriVox.org by Maria Grazia Tundo. The door was shut. I looked between its iron bars, and saw it lie, my garden, mine, beneath the sky, pied with all flowers bedewed and green. From bough to bough the songbirds crossed, from flower to flower the moths and bees, with all its nests and stately trees. It had been mine, and it was lost. A shadowless spirit kept the gate, blank and unchanging like the grave. I, peering through, said, "Let me have some buds to cheer my outcast state." He answered not, or give me then but one small twig from shrub or tree, and bid my home remember me until I come to it again. The spirit was silent, but he took mortar and stone to build a wall. He left no loophole, great or small, through which my straining eyes might look. So now I sit here, quite alone, blinded with tears, nor grieve for that, for naught is left worth looking at, since my delightful land is gone. A violet bed is budding near, wherein a lark has made her nest, and good they are, but not the best, and dear they are, but not so dear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Silver Wedding by John Godfrey Saxe. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Silver Wedding by John Godfrey Saxe. A wedding of silver, and what shall we do? I said in response to my excellent spouse, who hinted this morning we ought to renew, according to custom, our conjugal vows. I wouldn't mind it, now, if, and suppose, the bride were a blooming, well, on my life, I think, to be candid, don't turn up your nose, that every new wedding should bring a new wife. And what if it should, was the laughing reply. Do you think, my dear John, you could ever obtain another so fond and so faithful as I? Should you purchase a wig and go courting again? Ah, darling, I answered, 'tis just as you say, and clasping a waist rather shapely than small, I kissed the dear girl in so ardent a way you wouldn't have guessed we were married at all. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Recorded by Lady Hopeful One, Austin, Texas.
Sonnet 5 from Sonnets from the Portuguese by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Reading by Bologna Times. Sonnet 5. I lift my heavy heart up solemnly, as once Electra her sepulchral urn, and, looking in thine eyes, I overturn the ashes at thy feet. Behold and see what a great heap of grief lay hid in me, and how the red wild sparkles dimly burn through the ashen grayness. If thy foot in scorn could tread them out to darkness utterly, it might be well, perhaps. But if instead thou wait beside me for the wind to blow the gray dust up, those laurels on thine head, O my beloved, will not shield thee so, that none of all the fires shall scorch and shred the hair beneath. Stand further off then. Go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sound Sleep by Cristina Rossetti. Read in English for LibriVox.org by Maria Grazia Tundo. Some are laughing, some are weeping. She is sleeping, only sleeping. Round her rest white flowers are creeping. There the wind is heaping, heaping sweetest sweets of summer's keeping, by the cornfields ripe for reaping. There are lilies, and there blushes the deep rose, and there the thrushes sing till latest sunlight flushes in the west. A fresh wind brushes through the leaves while evening hushes. There by day the lark is singing, and the grass and weeds are springing. There by night the bat is winging. There forever winds are bringing far-off chimes of church bells ringing. Night and morning, noon and even, their sound fills our dreams with heaven. The long strife at length is striven, till our grave bands shall be riven. Such is the good portion given to our soul, at rest and shriven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Stranger by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson in Hazelmere, Surrey. Passing stranger, you do not know how longingly I look upon you. You must be he I was seeking, or she I was seeking. It comes to me as of a dream. I have somewhere surely lived a life of joy with you. All is recalled as we flit by each other, fluid, affectionate, chaste, matured. You grew up with me, were a boy with me, or a girl with me. I ate with you and slept with you. Your body has become not yours only, nor left my body mine only. You give me the pleasure of your eyes, face, flesh. As we pass, you take of my beard, breast, hands in return. I am not to speak to you. I am to think of you when I sit alone, or wake at night alone. I am to wait. I do not doubt I am to meet you again. I am to see to it that I do not lose you. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Venus Transiens by Amy Lowell. Read for LibriVox.org by Miss Avarice. Tell me, was Venus more beautiful than you are, when she topped the crinkled waves, drifting shoreward on her plated shell? Was Botticelli's vision fairer than mine, and were the painted rosebuds he tossed his lady of better worth than the words I blow about you to cover your too great loveliness, as with a gauze of misted silver? For me you stand poised in the blue and buoyant air, cinctured by bright winds, treading the sunlight and the waves which precede you ripple and stir the sands at my feet. End of recording. This recording is in the public domain.
Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore, read for LibriVox.org by Saumya on 5th of August 2010. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Which Are You? By Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Read for LibriVox.org by Una. There are two kinds of people on earth today. Just two kinds of people, no more, I say. Not the sinner and saint, for it's well understood. The good are half bad, and the bad are half good. Not the rich and the poor, for to rate a man's wealth, you must first know the state of his conscience and health. Not the humble and proud, for in life's little span, who puts on vain airs is not counted a man. Not the happy and sad, for the swift flying years bring each man his laughter and each man his tears. No, the two kinds of people on earth I mean are the people who lift and the people who lean. Wherever you go, you will find the earth's masses are always divided in just these two classes. And oddly enough, you will find too, I ween, there's only one lifter to 20 who lean. In which class are you? Are you easing the load of overtaxed lifters who toil down the road? Or are you a leaner who lets others share your portion of labour and worry and care? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.